And what are we doing now, Emily? Another kata?
Another kata.
Yep.
Hello there, and welcome to another Bringing the Thunder. My name is Emily, and I'll be thrilled to be your host today. Now, in my day-to-day, I'm a system engineer turned agile coach, currently serving 2 platform domains. However, hosting today. The reason for that is we have a very special kata for you prepared, with a special guest, a familiar face, none other than Jan.
Hello, everyone. I'm sure you have no idea who I am and what I do here. But
No.
pretty much, yes. Today, I will be the expert guest on a topic that I'm very enthusiastic about myself. I've been spending a lot of time in developing CI/CD and a lot of tools and automation and development tools that make creating connectors, scripts, anything related to data miner a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be very interested in showing you that and you as well. And again, thank you very much for taking over my hosting.
No problem.
I can see you've seen some episodes. The intro was remarkably the same.
I just took the sentences.
Also stole
Quoted
my
by
hat.
Jan.
Also stole my hat.
All right, but on the topic, I think
Yes.
I'm excited.
Right, yeah. So as I mentioned, CI/CD. So we've had a few Empower sessions in the past on CI/CD as well. So people who have witnessed those will already have a small leg up. But do not worry, I'll be starting pretty much from scratch. And you'll see it's quite easy. I'm gonna go for 15 minutes. Quote me on that. Oh boy.
Okay.
We're already 5 minutes in probably. So.
Are there any prerequisites
Yes,
before we start?
a few prerequisites. So you're going to need Visual Studio 2022. You can do it with 19 as well, but I'll be showing everything with 22, so it'll be easier to follow. You'll want DIS installed, so the extension. You can get that from, or at the dojo, you can get
the
it
community downloads.
Indeed. And SDK 8. So if you Google for SDK runtime 8, you'll need to make sure you have that one installed. Because most of the tooling that we've been developing in the last year to help automate things are .NET tools.
Okay.
And if you have an SDK 8, which you can also do on Ubuntu, on Linux, if you have that, you can run those tools. So they are platform independent, pretty much, which is really great because it gives us the ability to offer this to almost everyone and almost every CI/CD technology out there.
Okay.
So today I'll be showing it with GitHub.
Yeah.
GitHub workflows, so that's the other prerequisite for the exercise. But you could try and follow along and do it with Jenkins.
Yeah.
Most of the commands are the same, or you could use Concord CI or any other CI/CD technology. You could try it. It won't be exactly the same. Syntaxes will differ a bit, but the tooling itself and how you call them, it's going to be the same.
Okay. So let's pause if you have not yet installed those things. Those SDKs, Visual Studio, DIS.
Yeah.
Once they're there,
Yeah.
let's start, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. One more thing. There is if you look on the docs, as you've done for the other katas by now, if you look on the docs, then you'll find that we have the exercise and the tutorial in there.
Awesome. Okay.
So you can follow along through text as well. If I'm going too slow, you can speed it up by reading the text and jumping ahead. Also, the prerequisites are in there as well.
Yeah. I guess we can show the link somewhere.
Yeah. We'll show you the link. But yeah, pretty much if you just go to Docs Data Miner Services, and then under the tutorials, you'll find then the CI/CD in there.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
It's not in there yet.
Okay.
It's still going in a pull request. But by the time this video comes out,
fresh from the press,
it'll be in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much the way it'll look though, is you'll get this tutorial text as you see it on the screen.
Like the other exercises tutorials.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you can see, step 1, I think we'll just jump in.
Yeah, right.
So
go ahead.
Creating a connector. Indeed. So step 1, we'll make a connector because that's the point of today. Let me make a connector. So we're going to Visual Studio. We'll start with that. And if you already have DIS installed, you'll get something called Visual Studio Templates installed alongside with it.
Okay.
Visual Studio Templates allow you to very easily create a new project, which we can do here. And then we can select actually that the data miner connector solution. So if you search for data miner, you'll find that you have an automation script solution, a connector, or a user-defined API. Mm-hmm. But we're going for the connector in this case. So we'll just click next and we'll give this thing a name. So let's call this A New Hope. because I'm hoping things will go all right.
All right.
Okay.
And using this, then you don't need to start from scratch, right?
Right. So this will already generate for you pretty much the entire setup you need to make a connector. So the XML will be in there. You'll get some example quick actions like, the pre-compiled quick actions and stuff like that. So pretty much this sets up your environment.
It allows you to really just jump in and go nuts.
Yes, pretty much. So I'll just create it in the default folder. Help remind me, Jan S source.
Right.
We'll call the connector. We'll just call it Skyline A New Hope. I'm gonna keep going with it now. I started something. That's not what I'm using in
and
the
everything, you're filling in here will automatically be filled in the connector, right?
Correct. So this is kind of like a little wizard. I'm going through it a bit quick, but pretty much the only thing important here is making sure you have a good name. You can specify provider name. Doesn't have to be Skyline. You can use your own, your own provider there. Vendor in this case, this is kind of an example. So I'm again using Skyline. These OIDs, you'll notice I'm just filling in 000.
These are the attributes you normally should fill in any connector you're making. Yeah.
So element type is just a test, and that's it.
In a virtual.
Yeah, pretty much. So a lot of this is just, for this example, we don't really care too much, but you can fill all of that in, click on create, and that will actually create this Visual Studio template. It will create your initial setup of a connector.
Preparing everything.
Right. Once you have that, we can show you. So this is now your connector that was created. And if you have DIS installed, which you should, you can click on validate, and you will soon see that there's a couple of problems in there. We can ignore this guy here. That's a Skyline specific one. People following along will not have that one. But other than that, we can see it made the page general, but it doesn't exist. And a default page general doesn't exist. So what does that mean is there's a default page in here and some stuff is filled in, but we have no parameter for it. So nothing in there is actually working. So what we can do, just so that we have
something visible
is actually make a quick parameter in there. So what you can do for that is just type in, what do you call that, smaller than sign, and then param, and tab it a few times.
Or you could, I guess, right click and use the snippets.
Correct.
It's the same.
Yes, you could use a snippet as well. So we're just going to enter here just nice param, a nice param. We're going to say hello param. And just to make it easier, we're going to make a string. Enter. So doing that.
And I guess putting it on a page.
I think I just Control Z.
Yeah.
There we go. So, and now we're going to indeed put it on the page. So with that, with DIS, you've got a nice display editor. When you click on that, you can drag and drop it into the layout there, apply that, and it'll have a page and a location. So if I now validate again, those errors are gone. Okay?
Okay.
So we have a very basic connector now. Great. Okay. And you notice I've been clicking on that validate button. I've been doing it from there. But what you can actually do as well is incorporate that within a CI/CD pipeline. So that means anytime you would then push that code to repository to make it available somewhere, or maybe to release it even, it will run that validate step automatically again, just to make sure at the end of the everything is working. So
if somebody forgot to manually click that validator, it's extra check.
And especially if you are working in a team and you've got multiple people working on the same connector or the same script or the same project, such a CI/CD pipeline can really help in automating a lot of the fluff, a lot of the, making sure everything goes through a quality gate, all of that. So that's actually the core of what I'm going to show you. This was kind of the setup, but I wanted to really show from scratch. So now we've got that, we want to put it in a repository. We've done that a few times in different katas. The way usually you can quickly do that is going to Git and saying, let's create a new Git repository. And it's already saying A New Hope, that's great. And I'm going to put it under my own name. So just as the owner, the account name, Jan Stan Skyline in this case. If you're doing it, you'll have your own account. Pretty much, you can leave everything as it is. We'll just create and push that. And now we already have, the first steps of DevOps and CI/CD is that our code is now on a location that is shared, that other people can now look at, work on, change things, collaborate with. Exactly. Now, we want to set up a CI/CD pipeline on that end so that when I push something, it'll trigger something automatically. Yeah. That's the entire point. I love automation. The more I can automate, the better. The most laziest of programmer is the CI/CD programmer. So that's why I picked that as as
your topic.
My topic. So a quick tip, if you want to get to GitHub quickly, you can actually go to view pull requests. Doesn't really matter. We don't need to do pull requests, but it gets you to the page where you can then go to code or issues.
Immediately in the correct branch.
I don't know why, but in all our Visual Studios, you had something that just went to GitHub. They got rid of that. And now the only thing you can do is go view
via workarounds.
View pull request. But anyway, we're on that setup. Now I want to add a pipeline to that. A pipeline or an automation in GitHub is called GitHub Actions. So under Actions, we'll create something called a workflow. Pretty much syntax, sugar, what's in the name. In Jenkins, it's called pipelines. In Concourse, it's called something else. Azure has their own thing.
Actions.
So pretty much we're going to set up a workflow, and we can actually start from a default here. So what we can do is look under continuous integration, and it's already suggesting us, okay, this looks like a .NET thing. And they would be correct. This is a .NET thing. So you can actually say configure, and it will set you up with already a basic workflow that does a few industry standard things. So it's nothing related to data miner yet, but it does some interesting stuff. It will, for example, build, it will compile your solution, and it will also, for example, run any unit tests
that you might have for your projects.
So pretty much you can already do a commit here, and we can have a look at it. So if we commit this and then go back to actions, we should see that this guy is going to trigger. It should. I had an entire session once where I gave a similar presentation, and the 0.00% downtime of GitHub was during my presentation.
I noticed you were...
I was already not again, guys. Come on. But anyway, so you can see it's actually running. Yeah. So if we click on that, we'll see that it pretty much already went through everything, and it should be turning green. So that means we already have a code that for the current workflow says good, it passes.
But we didn't add much body yet, so...
No, there's nothing really in there except the general building and testing. So what we want to do is add the validator to it. Yeah. The data miner validator, which is a tool that runs within DIS, but it's also a separate tool. Okay. So you can run it as a .NET tool. And what we want to do is we want to add that to that. So if we go back to actions.net, we can actually open up the YAML file. It's not going to be 15 minutes, is it?
Take your time.
It's not going to be 15 minutes. I tried. Maybe if you fast that times 2 with me. So if we go to this, we can actually edit, and we can actually start adding things to here. We can, so for example, what I usually do, monkey see, monkey do, you can copy the previous thing. Oh, I think I didn't grab everything there. Not my laptop, not used to this laptop.
Lots of excuses.
Yeah, more excuses are on the way. Anything that goes wrong, I'll have an excuse, don't you worry. So now, of course, I just copied it and changed the name, so it's not actually going to run the validator yet. Okay. But pretty much it's the same thing.
It's an extra step in that action.
It's an extra step. Now, how do we fill that in? Well, for that, the easiest way is to check the docs and then copy from there.
Of course.
But I'm also a developer, and I'm going to show you a little trick that you can do. So we'll first end up going to, oh boy, where did I save that? Under users?
Your Jan S.
Yeah, and then source, I think, or where is it? Sources. Repos, A New Hope. So pretty much in here. So this is our repository, but on a local computer. So this is just a Visual Studio solution on my desktop. Now in here, what you can actually do is you can actually open a terminal, in this case it's PowerShell.
This feels old school command line.
Yeah, but pretty much, like I said, you can run all these tools in command line. So what I generally end up doing is you need to know a few things. First thing though is you need to be able to install it. So what you can always type is .NET tool install. We're gonna install the Skyline .dataminer. Oh, why am I dataminer.cicd.tools, and we're gonna install, for example, the validator. So Skyline dataminer CICD tools validators, that name is something you need to know grabbed from the documents.
Okay.
There's really no way around that, but if you look in the docs, you'll find that nicely documented there. We've got 3 tools that I'll show you today.
Okay.
We have
This is the first one.
the first one. We have the CICD tools.validator. We'll have the CICD tools.packager.
Okay.
And that one creates a DM protocol, creates a package.
Yeah.
And we also have the deploy. The CICD tools deploy, a dataminer deploy.
But we're still at the first step. We want to validate or...
So pretty much, I made a mistake because this is supposed to be a global tool. So you need to add a -G behind it to indicate it's a global tool. And that'll install that tool. Now from there...
That tool, you're talking about the separate DIS.
Yes, so that's the validator.
Yeah.
Specifically just the validator.
Okay, the part.
As it's so. So we've installed that so we can have a look. .NET tool list G. So we can get an indication here of what is installed on my system.
And which version.
Yeah. So pretty much this call here is actually the first call that you want to do in your pipeline as well. So I'm going to try and copy paste this. Watch me fail. But
I have faith in you.
Well, a new hope.
New hope.
So I said run, but let's first install. So we'll install the validator. Ooh, there we go. There we go. So.
That comma is...
No.
Yeah.
There we go. That'll do. So pretty much at that point we're installing just the validator. Now we want to run the validator. Now we can have a look at the terminal again.
Can I ask, will it be installed every time you run it then? Or?
Yeah, for this one, in this workflow for GitHub, it'll install it every time you run it.
Yeah.
It's relatively quick.
Yeah, okay.
So it shouldn't matter too much. There are ways to cache that or to do things like that, but
it's an easy exercise.
Yeah, it gets a little bit more complicated. Yeah. But anyway, you can see one of the commands that we are able to do from the list is dataminer validator. Validator. And if I just type that in, it'll tell us, okay, well, I'm missing some things. So let me open it a bit bigger. And that's generally how I end up using these tools. Like I said, you could go to the docs. I will probably do that for the other ones. Just save some time.
Yeah.
Just to show you how, as a developer, usually I do it. So you can see it's missing a command. It's saying required command not provided.
Yeah.
And you can see one of the commands is the validate-protocol-solution. So you can just type up and then say validate-protocol-solution. Click enter again, and it's saying, oh, well, I'm still missing things.
Yeah.
I'm still missing a solution path, which is required.
You need to specify which solution it needs to validate.
And an output directly. So you can do the same here. You can then say, okay, well, let's do a solution. Oh, sorry, -- solution path. And now we need the solution. So that's why I opened this guy up.
The Explorer.
Yeah, so you can pretty much grab your location here. Up. And where is my terminal? There we go. And then plonk that in there. And then do the same for output. Directly.
So we're using this PowerShell to build our line.
Yes.
But actually you don't need the PowerShell. You could just use
yes.
another way or copy it from the docs.
So I'm using PowerShell here or command line. If you're following along on Ubuntu, you'll be using bash, a terminal there. But it's pretty much the same thing. What you can do is create your commands in this, see if it works.
It helps you out, see what's missing, what you might need.
Yes. So if we click enter on that, you'll notice it's running. So the validator is performing the actual validation. It's going through all of the steps, and it will write our results to the page. And in this case, now I just, for sake of ease, I added it in the same solution. So we have now validated results in there. And in there, you will now see the results.
The same we saw in DAS running validator in
pretty
the
much
studio.
at that point, you know your command works.
Yeah.
So you can, again, grab that command and then paste it in your workflow.
In the action.
The only thing in there, of course, is that, the paths that you provide, they will not be on the C users Jan S.
Yeah.
But for that, it depends on what technology you're working in. For GitHub, you generally say github.workspace.
Okay.
If you just type in github.workspace, it will select the repository it
It's run from.
Yeah. So pretty much you would grab this entire thing, and we can do this. So we can grab this whole thing. The only thing I want to check though is I also want a file name, which I'll explain why I want an output file name.
Okay.
But pretty much you can plonk that in there as well. So we'll do it in a few copies. Watch me fiddle around with the laptop I'm not used to again. Here we go. We'll run it. And then I want this guy. There. And the solution path, as I mentioned, we can just change that into the workspace pretty much. So that's a $, and then some brackets, and then in there you can say GitHub.
And that's the same for everybody using GitHub.
Yes. So for that one, you can pretty much just grab that as the solution path. Ay. Come on there. You can do it, laptop. I have faith. A new hope.
I guess a mouse would have been useful.
Yes. I suppose you didn't bring one.
No,
The next
not next time.
Okay. This is the only one I'm doing manually.
Yeah, I guess as host, you would expect your guests to come prepared.
Right. So the only thing I'm adding in here is just a folder called results. And then, like I said, an output file path name.
Yeah. So instead of having it in, like the main folder we saw last time, it will make its own folder with the results where you can have a...
Let me just check here. The file name. Yeah. And I'm going to call that validated results. So pretty much here, now we have something that will install that tool and run that tool.
And run the tool.
And pretty much it's in 2 simple commands, which you can test out on your command line, PowerShell, Bash, whatever, to make sure things work. Yeah. We're going to do that 3 times, but I'll be copy-pasting stuff from this point on, which you'll be able to do as well from our docs and the tutorial and text there.
Okay, it'll be easier.
Yeah, just to speed things up a little bit, because it's not 15 minutes.
That's fine. Let's aim at that 30 minutes.
Yeah. So, but pretty much what I have here, I could already run this actually. So let me have a commit here, and this is gonna run. But of course, in this case, we're not really displaying the results anywhere. So it's making that file, it's putting it on there, and it's not really doing anything with it. Now, for that, there are things that are called archiving your archiving your artifact, it's called. It's pretty much you're grabbing a file and you're telling GitHub to make that visible, make that available to look at.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And then another step, I'll be copy pasting those. Another step is then to create a quality gate. So all of this is still CI. So it's called build, but I should change the name. I'll do that in a bit to CI, because this is all...
Because we talk a lot about CI, CD.
Yeah.
What does CI actually stand for?
CI is continuous integration.
Okay.
It's about the ability to continuously develop, integrate, and have your automatic validation happening in the background constantly. So anytime you develop, I develop on the same thing, it will run that. And at all times, you're certain of a certain quality. So you can continue working on it. So continuous integration is there.
Okay.
And then the CD is a continuous deployment. Which is
later,
which is pretty much packaging it and putting it on a data mine.
Okay.
So I just committed that and ran it. So this should be running. It did. So it's finished. So if we look at the build, again, it's pretty quick because we are running this on an Ubuntu GitHub server. So that's the default. Yeah. So we can see it actually ran here the validators. So if I have a look here, you'll see the exact same output.
Okay, yeah.
As we saw in command line.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, speeding things up, I'm going to be copy pasting some things and then talking about them instead of typing them in
go ahead.
manually. So we'll go back to the .NET. And the next thing I want to do is, like I said, I want to archive that and I want to have a quality gate.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for that, there's a little trick. What I generally do, and I'm going to guess this is going to be happening more and more in the future, but I like generating code for such standard code using things like ChatGPT or Gemini.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the new guy. It's there's no getting away from it.
We're going AI?
There's no getting away from it. But for things like this, it's really great. Yeah. So what I'll show you is if I
standard commands you'd need.
Yeah. Standard stuff. Let me actually show you. So we've done all of these things, blah, 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 blah. So we're extending it. So pretty much this is what I mean. So I don't know if I have my ChatGPT in here actually. So I didn't prepare it on this laptop. But if you ram this using GitHub workflows with an Ubuntu runner, I have a JSON file with the path GitHub workers validate results JSON. I want 2 steps. One step where we upload the artifact and one step that retrieves the critical issue count and the major issue count, see which issues are there, and then throw an error if one of them is higher than 0.
So that's what you would paste into the AI ChatGPT?
Yeah, you put that in and you're going to get this. These 2 things. It'll literally, I didn't change anything. Okay. This is what you get. You're going to get a name, archive results. It's going to say, okay, we're going to use the action upload artifacts. All of these are pretty standard things with GitHub workflows. Okay. And it'll give you a small little piece of code here that'll check the criticals and the majors and stuff like that. So pretty much you can, and actually let me make sure I grab the whole thing and I'll make sure I have the install and run. Yeah. But pretty much you can grab all of that and I'll just overwrite the previous 2 things I manually typed, even though we saw it works. Just want to be sure. Yeah. Paste that in there. And now this is actually going to archive that and give us a quality gate as well.
Okay. I'm curious to see it happen.
Yeah. I'll have it run. It's an Ubuntu workflow, so it's pretty quick at this point. So it's going to be a little slower at the next step, which is deployment. Which is the deployment CD step. For that one, we need to use a Windows runner. Okay. I tried very hard to get it to work on Linux.
Yeah, but Windows is...
No, I had to use Windows because DataMine itself runs on a Windows server. So deployment directly to a data miner, you need to do it from a Windows environment.
That makes sense, yeah.
But yeah, I really did try, but yeah. But anyway, so this code now is running. And the changes it'll do is once it's done, it's like 30 seconds or something. So it's running the validator.
You really see it run with all the output.
There we go. And it's doing the quality gate. It's doing a post setup, all of that, cleanup. Okay. All of that happened. So it went through the quality gate. It didn't fail. Otherwise, this would have thrown an error. Okay. So if there was a major or a critical issue, so if I introduce that in the Visual Studio solution, which I can do if I have time still, you'll see that this one will fail.
That's what we asked the AI to generate.
Pretty much, yes. You just told them to do that. That's very standard code. And the learning models that are used have gone through quite a lot of code for that kind of stuff. Okay. I should note, not all of them are equally good. ChatGPT I can recommend for this one. I know it'll work. I tried this with Gemini, which is Google's model. But yeah.
For those who are watching, again, you can copy paste it from our docs.
Yes, for sure. And in fact, I'll immediately go into the next part here. So deployment and packaging. Again, you could do the exact same thing I did earlier, using command line first to figure everything out.
But trial and error, see what works, what doesn't.
But pretty much we'll have a look at our docs here and I'll grab it from there just to... So we're going to extend the workflow with CD. You do need, good thing that I opened the docs
Yeah.
Would have forgotten. You do need a data miner 10.3.0 or 10.3.2 or higher to do the direct deployment. So direct deployment means that you're not using the catalog.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can grab a DM protocol or a DM app and specify the IP or the host name of a server, username and password, and say deploy this.
Okay. That allows
Yes.
the CI/CD to deploy it
Yes.
without having to go through the catalog.
Yes.
Okay.
The other way that works is where you can do an upload to the catalog and then from the catalog upload it, which is actually a little easier.
Okay.
Why am I not doing it? Because we don't have the upload to catalog yet for drivers, for connectors.
Okay.
So that one is still in development with another team that is very hard at work getting it in there. Once that's in there, then I would
up and coming.
I would then recommend using the catalog for that one because it does offer the direct deployment. Once the artifact is gone, it's gone. With the catalog, you have it uploaded and you can reuse it.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, speed things up here, I'm just going to copy all of this and I'll go through it. But pretty much, actually, we can already have a look what it does. So I say it needs to run on Windows latest. So this is a CD job deployment. It needs to run on Windows, as I mentioned. And it needs CI. Needs CI means that if the CI step failed, this thing will never run.
Oh, okay. That ensures your quality.
Exactly.
If you have an error in there, it should not deploy.
Yes.
Because else you are introducing errors to a data miner. Yeah.
And then the next thing is, again, we're going to install a tool, which is the CI tool packager.
Yeah.
I mentioned in the beginning. We're also going to install the data miner deploy.
That's our third tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to run those two commands. So we're going to say data miner package create a DM protocol. Again, just giving in the workspace.
Yeah.
And then we'll just say, okay, what's the name of it? Where do you want to output it? Similar things. That's always the same stuff.
Yeah.
And then deployment, we're going to say from artifact. There's also a from catalog.
Ah, okay.
In this case, we're doing a from artifact. We're indicating the path to the artifacts is where you saved protocol, DM protocol. And then the server location, which we'll grab from our secrets. We'll say this is the location of the server, this is the user.
Some settings you...
This is indeed the last couple of settings we need to do. So I'll just grab this stuff and I'll plonk it in there. And let's see if I have everything right. So I still need to change the name of my job
to CI then, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So now it will be happy. Now, if I run this, it will not work for a simple reason. That I have not filled in any secrets.
Yeah, okay.
So you would need to then fill in the secret server location.
Of where your data miner is located.
That would be the location of your data miner, and then also your user and password. Now, for security reasons, I will not show you, because I would have to type in the password, and that would be my user. But I can show you where you do it. Quick tip, make sure you hold Shift when you click on settings. That will open up a new page.
So we don't lose all...
Otherwise, you would lose your edit.
Okay.
But once you're in there, under secrets and variables, under actions, in here, you can then make the secret, which is data miner underscore password, data miner underscore user, and then the server underscore location. Okay. So you fill those in, you run that pipeline, and then things will actually deploy on your system if it reaches through the CI. So that's it.
Okay.
It's not 15 minutes.
No.
And if I had a little more time, I would, for example, introduce an error, show you how that works.
Yeah.
But trust me, when it does, I would fill in the repository secrets, show you the deployment works.
Yeah.
Please trust me that it does.
A few moments later.
Hey guys, I'm at my desk and I couldn't resist. So on the screen here, you'll see that I filled in the repository secrets and I actually ran the entire pipeline with the deploy step. So if we have a look, it should now have Skyline A New Hope on my deployed agent. I wouldn't be able to sleep if I didn't show you this. Have a nice one. See ya. But pretty much I want to kind of keep it here if that's okay.
Yeah, no. Awesome.
More information is on our documents as well. So what I showed you here, the entire setup, you can do that from the tutorial and in there, so you can, profit. So you can actually run it. But a couple of advanced options also exist for those.
Yeah.
I would actually refer you to looking at our starter workflows and our reusable workflows in Skyline GitHub.
Okay.
Maybe one quick thing I'm going to show because it's really interesting. So if you go to the Skyline organization, so Skyline Communications, and if you look for reusable workflows, which is a public repository,
So anybody can use it?
anybody has access to it, feel free to copy paste. You're welcome, world, you're welcome. Under workflows, you'll see we have a whole bunch of pre-created workflows for like connectors, which is this, what we just did, but better.
Okay.
But better. It does a lot of extra stuff. For example, it allows you to work with tagging. To say, if I say 1001 tag, it will do a release cycle. It works with development cycles.
So with those that got
this
tickled
one,
can have a look in there.
This one also shows you how you can use Sonar Cloud. So you can use Sonar Cloud to do static code analysis as part of
really
this.
enhance that pipeline, that CI/CD. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess that's it. That's what I wanted to really show everyone.
Maybe for the the community that followed along, we always end with a screenshot.
Right.
Or what should they send you in to prove that they follow along?
How about this guy? So I'm running it now, and I know it's going to fail on CD because I didn't do the secrets.
Yeah.
That's okay. I would say if you take a screenshot of this, or just if you open up the CI step, for example, I mean, that's fine. That's
just
good.
to see it run,
Yeah.
have the validator installed.
You know, the CD step when it finishes. So, having a look at that, I think that's a good one. If you really want, you can also screenshot your workflow file, but I mean, either of those is fine.
Okay, awesome. So, take a screenshot of that, send it in. And as a token of appreciation, we'll grant you some very valuable DevOps points. Jan, thank you for your insights and expertise.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for following along. And I guess have a fantastic day. And see you next time with your usual host.
Yeah, can I have my hat back?
Yes, you can.
I'm going to hat back.
There you go. It's all yours.
All right.
Right, see ya. Bye.